Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. You know, with Memorial Day coming up, I immediately started thinking about picnics, because when I was a child growing up in North Carolina, Memorial Day always meant picnics. So one of my very favorite picnic foods is one that is considered essential in the South. Every bit as important as the fried chicken is deviled eggs. I love them. We're going to go into the kitchen and make some. And I have some ideas for some very adult garnishes that I think you'll like. And lots of possibilities to choose from too. So, if you're going to celebrate your Memorial Day with a picnic, whether it's in the park, like Central Park, or another park, or maybe on the beach. This is about as close to the beach as I'm going to get this year, I think. In the backyard. Or on the roof. Or even at home. However you decide to celebrate, this will be a really good choice. Whether you're doing all the cooking or whether you're just bringing something special, I think your friends will be delighted that you chose these deviled eggs. So please come into the kitchen with me and we'll get started. Thank you. First off, we need to boil our eggs, of course. Now, these are medium eggs. You know, I get medium eggs on sale in one of my supermarkets all the time, sometimes for, $1 or a dozen or less. And they're a nice choice for this because they're small. And you get a lot of possibilities, for people to choose from so they can sample more flavors. Let's start by turning the eggs with the round side up. It's supposed to be stored that way, but sometimes they're not. And then you need a bulletin board push pin with a pin that's 3/8 of an inch long, as I just showed you. And then just pierce the top side of each one. Now this is going to let the excess air out so that the shell doesn't crack, or at least most of the time it won't, when you lower it into the boiling water. Even if the shell does crack, by the way, and even if just a little bit of the egg white is forced out through the air hole, even so, your eggs will have a beautiful shape if you do this piercing on them. So please do that. Salt the water a little bit. It may make it easier to peel them later. So lower them in, and then as quickly as possible bring the water back to the simmer. And we want a gentle simmer is what we want. We want a few bubbles here and there. That's our goal. So adjust your heat accordingly, so you keep them going for 12 minutes for U.S. large eggs that are cold, even less if they're room temperature. And these are U.S. medium, and I did these a little more than 12 minutes actually, because they were ice cold. And as you'll see, they got overcooked a little bit, but not too bad. So when they're done, then you want to remove them to an ice bath so that they will cool quickly and completely. So after they're good and cool, then you can refrigerate them. You can do this a day or two ahead, of course. It makes things easier. So then when you're ready to assemble, then we need to peel our boiled and chilled eggs, so I would suggest that you tap them all over on the surface, on your work surface there, and usually it's easier to start peeling from that round end where the air bubble was. Usually. There are no rules here. So do your best to peel them neatly, and most eggs will peel very easily. If you live on a farm and you have freshly laid eggs, they are not going to peel. So they need to be aged for a couple of days, and then they'll peel nicely. But of course that's not an issue for us city folk. So get your eggs all peeled. You know, I did 2 extras there just for a little insurance. So I've got 14 ready to go here. We're going to finish peeling, then get rid of our shells, and be sure and give your eggs a bit of a rinse to make sure you get all the last of the little bits of shell out of them, and then they'll be ready to go. So take a knife with a very thin blade and slice them lengthwise, and now the yolks are supposed to be, if they're cooked properly, they're supposed to be a beautiful sunny yellow. So that you know, that gray-green rim around the outside comes from too high heat and overcooking. So these are not quite as sunny as I'd like them to be. So that means I cooked them that extra minute that I cooked them. Started to discolor the edges of the yolks a little bit, but they're not too bad. Actually, it's better to undercook them a little bit because they look prettier and they taste better too. So you want to slice all of your eggs in half carefully, lengthwise, and pop out the yolks. Some of the yolks will pop right out. Some will be a little sticky. Don't worry about it. If it doesn't want to come out, just leave the residue in there. It's fine. And so I have a platter here that's going to hold all 24 pieces from my original dozen, and then I've got my backups. So be sure to use the yolks from your backup eggs too, because they'll make sure that you have enough yolk mixture to fill the egg white shells. So when you have them all emptied, then take your whisk, and the first thing you want to do is mash the yolks very well with the whisk until they're all granular and powdery. So you don't want to have any lumps in your mixture when you're ready to start stuffing the eggs. So make sure you give this a good mash with the whisk until it's all granular. Then you can start to add your flavors to this. You're going to need some mayonnaise. Of course, just the bottled stuff is standard for this kind of deviled egg. And so how much? Well, a 1/4 cup anyway, probably a little bit more than that, maybe about 1/3 of a cup. You can always add a little more later if you need it to be creamier. Maybe a teaspoon of good Dijon mustard, something like that. You're going to need a little salt, of course, and some pepper. You could use white pepper for this. It would look a little bit better. It would sort of disappear. I think some lime or lemon juice is in order, just a teaspoon or 2. And a great big old pinch of cayenne would help too. So give this a good whisk until it's nice and smooth and creamy. And then you'll be ready to fill your pastry bag. Now this is a disposable pastry bag, which I think is a great choice. And the tip that I have here is a large open star tip fairly large, not huge. Wilton calls this particular one number 826. So fit that in your pastry bag or into a Ziploc bag that you've cut the tip one corner out of. Yeah, I think you need a pastry tip though for sure. You can get along without a pastry bag, but you really need a pastry tip to get a pretty pattern on the eggs. And it's so quick and easy once you've got your pastry bag loaded up, as you will see. So you fold down a great big collar on the bag and then fill the bottom of the bag right down by the tip. Then grab the top of the bag and shake your mixture down, and then with your hand that you write with, you want to grab the bag just above the mixture and you want to give it a good twist. So hold it between your thumb and forefinger and twist it several times until you have a really tight knot. That's important, because if you don't have a knot, then you don't have a bag. It's going to all squirt out the other end. So then just wrap your hand around it. I'm left-handed, as you can see. And then start piping. So you want to hold your tip just above the bottom of the egg, and hold it straight up and down and just squeeze until you get the nice rosette of yolk mixture that you want, and release and pull it away. Pull it up at the same time. So give it a try. You'll fall right into the rhythm of the piping. And this came out even. I got all of my 4 alternates filled too. That's the cook's dividend. Now for garnish today, I chose some very thinly sliced cornichon pickles, little sour gherkins, and I have some tarragon leaves to go with that. I've got some black olives, some little red peppers that are sweet little red peppers. They're nice ones. These are asparagus tips that were blanched for 2-3 minutes. And then here we have some salmon roe caviar, which I love, which needs a little dill with it. So we've got some other fresh herbs there, which are always good, and microgreens too. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to use 3 different garnishes on that outside row, because I have 15 pieces, so that's 5 each of those 3. And so I'm using the asparagus, the red pepper, and which needs a little something green with it. A little tiny piece of parsley leaf is a good choice with that. And the cornichon, the little thin slices of cornichon, and they need a little touch of tarragon with them. Then in the center row there, I'm spooning out some of my nice salmon roe caviar, and that needs a tiny feather of dill, which looks pretty and the taste is just right too. So then for my remaining eggs today, I'm going to use our microgreens, and a little piece of black olive with the microgreen should do it. The recipe for my holiday deviled eggs is at brucebeckinthekitchen.com. I hope you'll drop by. I hope you'll give these a try, and I hope you love them. Thanks for being with me today, and I'd love to hear from you. Comments are always appreciated, and have a wonderful Memorial Day.